to get a divorce. I never wanted to do that. I thought that God would reject me,
Yes.
and I just didn't do it. And so finally, at the age of 50, I just started.
Hey, I'm so excited about my special guest today. Her name is Ally Belew. Some of you have seen her before because I've had her on Facebook Live in one of my Facebook groups. Hey, Ally.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm excited to be here.
I wanted to have you as a guest on my podcast, and I've wanted this for so long because you are blowing it up in the fitness world. You are such an inspiration to women. So I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, like who you are, what you do, how old you are, a little bit of your story so people get an idea of what you've, and I'm just going to give you guys a little teaser. She's kind of like, okay, she was on The Voice. Okay, let's just put that out there. She was on The Voice, and now she's doing equally impressive things in the whole arena of women's fitness and health. So
Well, thank you.
take it away, Ally.
Well,
Tell us about
it's
you.
so funny because, in the music industry, you don't want to tell your age. And that is, it's just, you don't,
Yeah.
as you age, it's something you want to hide. And so I'm 55 years old. I tell it
Yeah.
almost every day now. It's like I broke free from the age thing. It's like once you break it, it's just like you tell everyone how old you are all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm 55, I'll be 56 in October. I was a musician singer all of my entire life almost until I hit 50, 51-ish. And then I resigned and I didn't know what my purpose in life even was because I didn't know who I was outside of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I found my identity in what I did. And so outside of that, it was weird to try to figure out who I was. So then COVID hit on top of that. And I'm completely starting my life over. I left a marriage of almost 31 years. I quit my career, all of the above. And here I am. And then COVID hits. And I didn't even know what to do for work. I remember I applied at Lowe's to try to get a job. And I'll never forget the day they sent me a rejection email.
Oh my gosh.
And at that point, I was feeling low. And then I felt like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And that's when it hit me. I thought, what is even my purpose? Why am I even here? So I felt like I was failing at restarting my life. And, I had people around me that were retiring at age 50. And
Yeah.
I was here at nothing, had nothing really to my name at age 50, but some clothes, a borrowed car. And so, long story short, I remember Daddy telling me at 16, well, if you want a job, you go in, you dress for work, and you just tell him I'm here to work. And in the middle of COVID, I walked in Kroger, a grocery store,
Yeah.
and I said, I'm here. I need to speak with a manager. I want a job. I'm ready to work. And she gave me a job that day. She knew me from television.
Wow.
She gave me
She's
a
like
job.
hired.
Yeah. Making $11.25 an hour. This is in 2020.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, and $11.20 an 25 cents an hour, and no health benefits, and 20, 30 hours a week was the promise. I started work that day. I think I stayed there for 4 hours, did orientation. And so that's where I was a few years ago. And here I am today. Wade and I met the love of my life over the age of 50, which is
Yeah.
another story to tell. And I hope that encourages women. And I know you have a very similar experience, but met the love of my life. He was getting fit after 50 as well, competed in his first contest and won Mr. Tennessee Masters at his first contest at age 51. And that just kind of set me on this path to where I'm going to be like, if I'm his girlfriend, I need to be, I need to step up my game. Like, this is not good. So I got into the whole fitness thing, and one thing led to another, and friends started asking, what are you guys doing? Friends over 40, 50. And it just naturally became a business, not anything. You sound a little bit, not so smart to say, hey, when I turn 51, I'm going to start a fitness business. Well, that's nuts.
Right.
You've never been
Right.
into it. So here we are, and just seeing great things happen. And we're working with men and women all over the world. And I just love what I do. I now have a passion for this.
Yeah. And it shows. It shows in everything you do, every video you post. I mean, you're just amazing. So you met Wade, you were divorced, and you had already lost weight, right? But you were that skinny fat, as you
Oh
call it.
gosh. Yes, 100% skinny fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what would you say to women who just want to be skinny, right? And that was the thing for so long, and it's still the thing for a lot of people. I just want to be skinny. What would you say?
Oh gosh, it causes so many problems as we age. Between bone loss and muscle loss, we skinny is. I still have clients, and I'm still the
Hmm.
same. It's that 80s era that's stuck in our head
Yes.
that says, I don't want a big butt. What? Like now I give anything for a big butt. I'm working hard for it. But
Yeah.
but then I was in the less you weigh, the better. Like I remember 5'8" in school wanted to be under 120 pounds. If I could just get under 120 pounds.
Right.
But
I
when
know. I
we,
remember that.
oh God, yeah. When we age, that's different because with muscle loss and things like that, that causes some major metabolism issues, and we can even have poor bone health because of our diet and our calories being so low. So yeah, you got to get those up, not be
Yeah.
concerned about the skinnier the better.
So it's not about being skinny anymore. It's about being strong and fit and having longevity because if your bones are brittle and weak, what's the point? What's the point of being skinny?
Yeah. Yeah. I've looked at this is sad. I had a client the other day actually say that she said, my mom has always been worried about being thin. She always wanted to be thin and she eats one meal a day. And, women like that, they'll brag about, oh, I just eat one meal a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Well, that becomes a real issue. And she fell down and she couldn't get up. Literally. I remember in the 90s or whenever that commercial was, I've fallen and I can't get up. I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
watching that commercial thinking, well, just get up off the ground. What is wrong with you? Get
Oh my
up.
God. Get up. So yeah, I remember the 80s so well, where it was all about the number on the scale. And I'm not 5'8", but I'm 5'7", so I'm fairly tall. And I don't have a tiny frame, right? So I mean, I couldn't get under 130 if I tried, right? But the goal was like to always be 120 and to be skinny. And of course, like you said, no butt. If you had a big butt, that was weird back then, right?
Oh,
But
yeah.
now, I mean, I still can't build my butt. That's a whole nother issue that I've been working on. Well, let's talk about that. But also, back in the 80s, it was about being really tan. And now, of course, we avoid the sun and we do things like self tanners and all that. So things have changed for sure. So you met Wade, you started dating, love at first sight or pretty quick?
Real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick. I I would have told my children it's too fast. You
Right,
better
right.
make sure this is not good. It can't be love this quick. And here I am at 50 years old, moving fast, you know.
Well, don't you
And
think you get to a certain point in your life, you know what you want, and then when you meet it, it feels right?
I did. And I didn't want to love him though. I was so afraid of it. I was so afraid
Really?
of get hurt and I didn't know how I'd deal with it. I actually went to a therapist and she said, well, I said, I really don't want to love him. I don't want to love him. And she said, because I had been so hurt in my life, I just did not want to go through another hurt, and I thought, this is just too good to be true. He's going to crush, this one's going to crush me.
Right.
This is really going to destroy me. She said, well, are you going to die? Well, no. She said, well, it sounds like to me you've survived a lot worse.
Oh,
I don't know that this could not be considered. For me, I was always wanting this kind of love. So for me, this would probably be the worst thing. And she said, well, you've survived everything else. You're a survivor. You're going to survive this if it does happen. So she said, what if you go to your grave and you've never experienced love like this before? Wouldn't that be the worst regret? And I was like, yes, and I'm crying.
wow. Yeah, that's powerful. Well, the worst thing that could happen is you could die. You've survived worse, right?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
yeah, for
So
sure.
the breakdown of your marriage, from what I understand, that was super hard for you. It was like very, very traumatic and left you in that position where you felt so vulnerable, right? You were afraid to love because of what happened in your marriage.
Yeah, 100%. I got married first of all because I was pregnant. Back in the 80s, that's what you do. You're pregnant, you get married,
Yeah.
and that's what I did. And so I tried to make it work. Christian values. I was in
Yeah.
ministry of all things. That's where I started singing. And not that ministry is bad, but the type of religions that I were in were not something that really supported me a lot emotionally. It was, it's about being
Yeah.
fake more than being real. And it was a hard place in my life. And so I never wanted to get divorced. I just, even though I hadn't found the love of my life and I'd always dreamed about what love, real love would be like, um, I never wanted to get a divorce. I never wanted to
Right.
do that. I thought that God would reject me
Yes.
and I just didn't do it. And so finally at the age of 50, I just started drinking. I hadn't drank for over 25 years and I started drinking to, I guess, find relaxation. I
Hmm.
had gone through so much, and then that became a problem. Really, it became an every night drunk thing.
Hmm.
And I was sitting on my bed, and he was sitting beside me, and that's where he was all the time. If he got off work, he worked many many hours, but when he was off work, came home, sat on the bed, would play video games and watch television at the same time. Both things I hate. And so I
Yeah.
would just drink and be on Facebook and promote music. And I remember like this vision flashing in front of me, like you can live. I literally saw myself in a nursing home bed dying.
Mm.
And the thought that went through my head was, you can live this life from a nursing home, the one you're living right now. Loveless. I felt like I was failing at everything. My career, I wasn't even being a good mom because I was just so stressed out and just, I don't know. Have you ever been like that? Just
Oh,
everything
yeah.
was so I felt like I was failing every area of my life.
Especially
Yeah.
when you're in the belief system that, oh, God hates divorce, and Christian
Hmm.
women don't get divorced. So I went through a very similar type situation. And what would you say to women who are stuck in marriages that are toxic, but they feel like they can't get out because they don't have any other choices, especially once you're in the 50s. You're in your 50s. A lot of times we just think, well, just suck it up. This is my lot in life. Just power through it. I can't make I, I can't write a new story for my life at age 50. What would you say?
That is so wrong. It's so wrong because we can start again at any age. You know, we just limit ourselves. And I have so many women say, even about the working out thing, well, it's over for me. I never was into fitness. No, it's not over for you. I wasn't into fitness either, but my body has transformed over these years. Same thing with love. Well, it's too late for me. I've had this bad relationship, all my life, and this is just how it's going to be for me. You write your own book.
That's right. So let's talk about your body. You
Uh-huh.
have, like, literally, you have what most women our age would call the perfect body. You really do.
Oh, thank you.
Um, but a lot of people might say, well, she's always looked that way. That's just the way that's her genetics. That's the way she's always looked. But it hasn't been the way you've always looked. I've seen pictures of you. And so you literally created this new body for yourself within the past few years.
Yeah.
And so if you can do it, any woman in her 50s or beyond can do it as well. So, assuming most of your clientele are this age-ish, would I be correct?
Yes. Most women, because I tell my age so much, most women are my age. They're usually right
Yeah.
at my age. 55. If I say 55, women that are 55 sign up for my program.
And
And that's
crazy. Yeah.
yeah, it is. But I'll tell you that that's the truth. I tell women all the time, if I can, you can, because I was heavier and then I was thin. I was skinny fat. I had no butt whatsoever. And that it's all about butt, but I'm talking about the rebuilding of your body. Is why I'm talking about the
Right.
butt, not that it's all about the butt. But you can rebuild your body, and it's just amazing to see. And it's nutrition and workouts. And my clients have done the same thing. I went to put up a Facebook ad, and I put a picture of me at age 54, and I had a woman that was 49 that was on my program and rebuilt her body, and a woman that was 55. No, sorry, she was 53. 53. And I had us all side by side. And I loved and hated when Facebook said these are not typical results. You can't
Oh
put
my
this in.
gosh. Really?
Yeah. And I thought, I haven't, at that time, I hadn't had that many clients. And I thought, no, it's probably not typical, but you can do this. It's easily done. Well, it's not easily done. It's done if you find consistency and you just keep going. And, those two women standing beside me, it had been under a year for them. It wasn't a year of workouts, even. And if you think about that, that's just a little effort, not even a year of their life. So it can be done at any age, yes.
Wow. What your program promises is that if you enroll in it and you're consistent and you really, really want it, it will work for you.
Yes, it will. Now, does everybody look the same? No, we all look different. Some of us have stretch marks, some of us have
Yeah.
loose skin, some of us had more weight to lose, you know, but you can really transform your body at any age. You really can and become
Yeah.
stronger. You can actually even start reversing osteoporosis by lifting weights,
Hmm.
you know? Isn't it
Hmm.
crazy to think that we can do things like that?
So one of the things that women our age carry with us is the myth that the more cardio you do and the more intense the cardio is, the more fat you will lose. Could you speak to that for just a minute?
I find that to be very untrue. Very untrue. The more cardio I do, the more muscle I lose, the slower my metabolism.
Mhm.
And that is the truth. So there comes a point where we can do things like high intensity interval training, which is HIIT. That's
Yeah.
better than long state cardio, where we're just running and running and running and running. And so lifting weights and HIIT interval training, which if you don't know what that is, like you can go fast as you can for 30 seconds on a bike and
Hmm.
then slow it down for a minute, bring the heart rate down, and then fast as you can. And you know what? That's bringing the heart rate up and down. It causes less cortisol to rise, according to
Yes.
studies. And so that's a great cardio. Now, I wouldn't prefer to do that. I do that secondary to weightlifting, weight training, because you're going to burn more calories after weight training than you're ever going to burn after cardio. After cardio stops, calorie burning stops. After you weight train, you can burn extra calories, what, hours and hours, sometimes 24, they say sometimes 48 hours. I find that a little hard to believe, but it could be true.
Right.
It just sounds a little outlandish,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
depending on how heavy you go, maybe, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
And you can use weights for HIIT training too. I mean, if you're really
Oh,
working
yeah.
hard, that can be actually a HIIT training as well, correct?
Yes, yes, for sure.
So, what do you say to the woman who, because I hear this a lot as well, what do you say to the woman who says, "Well, I don't want to be bulky"? I
Well,
mean,
are
you
you
you hear that, right?
are you going to take are you going to take steroids and stuff? Because that's the only way
Right,
you're going to get bulky. So as a woman, those women that we see, that's what I used to think. I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to look like a man. You
right.
aren't going to look like a man. You're going to reverse the aging of your body. Those curves that we used to have, and then as we age, we start getting thicker through the middle. What weightlifting does, it brings those curves back. I was like a stick after I lost weight. It was embarrassing. I have I put up the picture actually in a video that I did, a reel, and it went viral because I actually showed myself standing to the
Yeah.
side, and I just was everything just sagged and just hung there. And weight training has brought all that back, that should have been there when I lost weight. I just
Hmm.
thought the same thing too. I thought, well, it must not be it's just not my genetics. This is what I look like now. I'm just aged. And that is so untrue. And what made me rethink all of that was his weight training competitions. Like when he went for these contests, and I saw these women on stage and they were 50, 60, and 70 in their 70s.
Crazy, right?
I looked at their bodies and I thought, what are they doing that I'm not doing? Is that how they're made naturally, or can I actually achieve that? And I was eating no carbs and they're over here eating all these carbs. And I thought, I have to be doing something wrong. I wonder if I can change my body. And I had no idea to the extent that I could change my body. But once I was consistent in changing my diet and my workouts and became really stronger and building up my strength, my body just really transformed.
How long before you started seeing results?
Probably the first year I started seeing some results, but I was so afraid to raise my calories up. I thought, oh
Yes.
my God, if I can't do it. I'm going to gain weight. I'm going to look awful. And I was afraid to raise my calories up. But the biggest key to the body I have right now is understanding that I needed to raise my calories to support my gym lifting because without those calories, I didn't have the fuel to build the muscle I needed.
That's right.
And and so because of that, I learned and that's what I chronically have to deal with women. I'm afraid to bring my calories up. At our age, women have been on every diet you can think of.
Yeah,
They have been on
exactly.
so many diets and they're like, I just have to keep my calories low on it. How's that working for you?
I think we've just been so conditioned to view food as the enemy, right? Food is bad,
Mhm.
so eat less. And it's
Yeah,
all about the number on the scale too. Women just they have a certain number in mind that they want to be, whether it's 135, 120, whatever it is. So they watch the scale and they think, oh, I've hit this number, I must be good. When in reality, their body composition is just not what it could be, right? Because if you're
right.
watching the number on the scale, you're missing it. Because you weigh, which shock a lot of people, because look at you,
Yeah.
you look like a size.
I can wear a size 4, but I'm
Okay,
143 pounds. I weighed 143 pounds 4.5 years ago. So if we looked at that scale, we'd say I made zero progress
exactly.
and I look like a different person.
I wish you had those
So,
pictures. I wish I would have told you, bring your pictures. We could put them up
yeah,
side by side. But people can find you on Instagram, on Facebook. Are you on TikTok as well?
I've tried it. I'm just not good at
Okay.
it. So,
But Facebook is where you do most of your business. So how can people find you on Facebook? It's BodBabes, right?
BodBabes, anything BodBabes, you'll find me. Yeah.
Did you get
BOD.
that name? Did you get the trademark on that name?
Nope, but it's coming. So real
Oh,
soon.
good.
Yeah, we're
Good.
working on that. So yeah, I love it. We started out with the bod garage. We thought that was pretty
Yep.
cool. And then we kind of make it a little girly by going bod beasts and bod babes. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked the Bod Garage though too. That was clever, but Bod Babes, I like it. I like it a lot. So if someone just types in Bod Babes on Facebook, they can find you.
I'm sure they will. Yeah.
Okay, and do you have to be in that group? You don't have to join anything, right? You can just be part of the
No.
group.
Uh-huh. I have a free group. I think I have about 3,000 women right now in it. And I need to get more active in there. I've been a lot more active in the past, but just business has been slammed. And so I've been a little bit
Such a
slower in there.
good thing.
Oh, it is. I'm so thankful. But we have free workouts, we've got free challenges, we've got some stuff coming up. So a lot of great things if you want to be in that group. It's a free private Facebook group on Facebook, just called Bod Babes.
It's a really great group. I mean, I see you live like almost every day somewhere, and I'm not
Mhm.
always keeping up with where, but you also have a really good YouTube channel.
Uh-huh. Trying to build it. Yeah, trying to build it out. I'm not real sure how to do that on YouTube, but I'm going to keep going. I think it's all about just like diet, it's all
It's
about consistency.
yeah. Well, your videos look so good. I mean, do you guys create those yourselves or did you hire somebody? They look great.
We do. We create them ourselves.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have great content. And I know people personally who have worked with you and they have nothing but amazing things to say.
That
So
is, I love that part of it.
yeah, and I just love you and I love your presence on social media and what you do for women and how you empower and how you're always so positive. I mean, really, Ally, you're always so positive. How do you do that?
I really believe, I really believe that if I did this, that they can too. I really believe it. And I've seen it happen again and again and again. And it breaks my heart to hear a woman think that she has no hope in any area of her
Mhm.
life. There have
Yeah.
people been through much worse than we can imagine. We all have our stories. Yet there's people who have been through much worse than we can imagine that have overcome them and succeeded in life. And we can too, but we have to get up and try.
Mhm.
We can't just settle. I hear women say all the time, well, this is all there is for me. I've just settled. Well, can you do, I've had one woman say, probably more than one say, well, just be happy with what you've got. Well, that's a sad place for me.
Mhm. I
I
hear that
want
a
to have,
lot.
I want to live the best life. I'm not going to
Yeah.
be just happy with what life hands me. You take what it hands you and then you take and make something beautiful of it, even if it's a mess.
So you're not dealing just with the whole weight loss issue. You're dealing with a lot of emotional stuff that kind of goes along with it, right?
Right.
And so would you say that you're treating the whole person in a sense?
In a lot of cases, that's what I'm doing. I've had women that were alcoholics and never told anybody, come on here and say,
Yeah.
Allie, because you talked about alcohol, I've never told anyone. And I'm an alcoholic. I know I am. All kinds of things. Women wanting to start their lives over, afraid to leave their husband. And I talk about those things, and I think because I talk about them and they see that in me, they sign up and they want to talk about those things. And I'm just sometimes just a sounding board.
Mm,
They need someone to hear them because people don't hear you. They don't listen to you.
so true.
And they just want someone to listen and tell them they're not insane.
Yeah.
So many times, and that it's
Yeah.
okay and that you're allowed to think those kind of thoughts. And it's okay, it is your life, and you get to decide what's written in those pages. And when
Mm.
you change your life, people get so upset about it. And
Oh my
that's what we
God.
worry about. We worry about, well, they're going to be upset. But I'm here to tell you, they only get upset for so long. They get over or they get out of your life. You staying in the same situation for your whole life is a lifetime that you're committing to that. So if you upset people, they're going to get over it. They'll forget about it. They'll get over it. And maybe they'll walk out of your life, but you'll survive.
I love what you're doing. I love you and Wade together and the pictures you guys post. You're a beautiful couple. You're an inspiration to so many. I'm just so thrilled you decided to come on here with me. Thank you so much. I'll put in the show notes where people can reach you. I know we already mentioned Facebook, but one final thing. Do you ever sing online at all? Like, do you ever give anybody a little snippet, like a little
I
at
really
all?
don't, and it's so weird that because that's always been my passion is music and
Mhm.
singing. Even from being a little girl, mom said, I think you sang before you even talked. I
Mm,
really did. I loved it. But it's so weird that my passion has changed.
mhm.
And I love what I do. I
It
really love working
shows.
with women and I love seeing them transform their lives. Man, it's my purpose. I know
Yeah.
it is. It gives me purpose and I feed off of it. I think anytime that I can help them, it helps me even more than it helps them, to be
Oh,
really honest.
that's probably true. And that's what gets you up in the morning, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
can feel you. I can feel your passion. This is the real deal for you.
Yeah,
So,
it is.
well, thank you
I
so
feel that
much.
from you too. Thank you for having me. And I love who you are. You
Thank you.
are that person, you know, that women can go to, that they see your life has changed. You've got a book out there that's amazing. And I thank you for speaking out. Speaking out is empowering,
It
and
is.
it empowers us, but it empowers others to think that they aren't crazy.
It's
Sometimes when you think those thoughts, you do feel like, well, I'm just nuts. I can never do that. I shouldn't do that. That's wrong. Well, who says? It's your
that's so
life.
true. I've had, and you've probably experienced this. I've had so many women come up to me and say, the fact that you spoke so openly about this one issue gave me permission to do the same. I didn't think I'd ever be able to talk about it. And you got up there and talked about it like it was nothing. So it empowers, like you said, it empowers other people. And I say this all the time, the thing that you are most afraid to talk about is the thing that you absolutely need to talk about in order to become free. Because we're only sick as our secrets.
You are right. And that's why this podcast is really important.
Thank you. And thank you for being a part of it. I really appreciate it. This is going to be such a fantastic episode. I can't wait to put it up.
I'm glad you asked me. Thank you so much.
Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And please, if you enjoyed the program today, please feel free to share. I appreciate you. Get out there and start living your best damn life. Until next time, take care.